I honestly can see John's point of view. I get it.
Yep.
I get it. It's just about the title for me.
Yep.
I just want the title, that's it.
Yep.
Does nothing else really matter. Now, I've been almost a year inactive with no prospects of anything apart from weight.
Yeah.
So now is actually a little bit more of a tricky time for me mentally than it was then. I can tell you some stuff about the money situation, but I'm not sure I can say it on camera, so I will tell you that after. I think I think I'm a bad matchup for him, to be honest. And I think he knows it.
My opinion, I think it's a huge risk.
Tom Aspinall has called out Jon Jones, urging him to either fight or retire, saying that Jones's ducking is not only affecting his own legacy, but also holding back Aspinall's career. On the other hand, Demetrius Johnson gave his opinion on the possible fight between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall, calling it a major risk for Jones. He explained that Aspinall is younger, more athletic, powerful, and brings a lot of unpredictability due to the lack of information on how fighters deal with his style. Johnson, speaking from both an analyst's and a fighter's point of view, described Aspinall as quick and light on his feet with the ability to close distance fast. He noted that if Aspinall gets close and lands a clean shot, many fighters have not been able to take that hit. If Jones were to get caught like that and lose, Aspinall would instantly become a massive star for defeating someone many consider the best ever.
It's huge risk. You're younger, you're athletic, you hit hard, you pose problems. We don't have much data on you, meaning that we don't know what happens if you do. And this is me speaking from an analyst and like my experience in MMA. Like if I was to fight Tom Aspinall, okay, what do I need to do? Okay, he's very fast, very athletic, light on his toes. Okay, he blitzes across the void. So if he gets across the void, can I take that shot? A lot of people have not been able to take that shot. So if he gets across that void, and I get hit, I might go down. That happens, you become the biggest star ever. You just slayed the GOAT in a lot of people's eyes, right?
Johnson also looked at it from Jones's perspective and said that if Jones wins, people might dismiss the victory by saying Aspinall was just a rising name who faded quickly. He suggested that Jones might also be waiting for a very large payday, possibly in the range of $30 to $40 million. Johnson made it clear that this was only his opinion based on his experience in mixed martial arts and left room for others to share their own thoughts on the matter.
If I go out there, Jones is if I go out there and I beat him, it was just as his words said, he's here today, gone tomorrow, right? So that's my opinion, like from his standpoint, or maybe he wants $30, $40 million. I have no idea, right? That's my opinion. Go ahead, give your piece. He asked the question.
However, Tom Aspinall opened up about the mental challenges he is currently facing during a period of inactivity. He shared that although he had a more serious injury in the past, that time felt easier to handle mentally because he had clear recovery goals and a timeline to follow. Whether it was starting to grapple again in 2 months or hitting certain rehab milestones, he always had something to aim for. Back then, even when people expressed concern about how he was coping, he felt confident because there was always something concrete on the horizon to work toward.
I've been almost a year inactive with no prospects of anything apart from weight.
Yeah.
So now is actually a little bit more of a tricky time for me mentally than it was then. Even
because
though
you had a reason for escaping from the cage.
Even people then were like, you know, people who was like, are you okay? Like, how are you dealing with coming back and stuff like that? And I was like, yeah, I'm good. Like, I've got this to look forward to. You know, the doctors say I've got to do this in 2 weeks, or in 2 months I can start grappling. And, you know, I constantly had like little goals that I could like work towards. Whereas now it's just like, right, just be ready.
Now, he explained, the situation feels more uncertain and mentally demanding. There are no specific goals or dates, and he is simply being told to stay ready without knowing exactly when or what is coming next. This lack of structure has made it harder for him to stay focused and motivated. He admitted that while preparing for a potential fight against Jon Jones is a huge opportunity, the waiting and uncertainty have become the most difficult part. He is doing his best to stay sharp and remain committed, but acknowledge that it is a constant mental battle.
And that it's kind of difficult, like mentally, to be like, but this is the fight against Jon Jones. Like, not the fight is another thing.
Yeah.
This is the tricky bit where I really have to stay switched on, stay motivated, and I'm trying my best. I'm trying. It's tough sometimes, especially.
Moreover, Javier Mendez shared that if Jon Jones were to accept a bout against Tom Aspinall, it would show that Jones has full belief in his ability to win. He said Jones is a natural competitor who is used to success and hates the idea of defeat. Mendez made it clear that someone like Jones would not agree to a matchup unless he felt the odds were clearly in his favor and he was certain he could come out on top. For Jones to say yes to fighting Aspinall, he would need to be completely sure he could handle the challenge.
If Jon Jones took it, that means Jon Jones felt very confident he would win. So I would put the money on Jon Jones.
Yeah.
You know, so that's because Jon Jones is not the type of guy that likes to lose. He's such a winner in every aspect of what he does that you're not going to push him into a fight. If he doesn't feel he can win that fight and doesn't have a good advantage, he's not going to take it. But let's face it, Aspinall is one of those, do you really want to take this fight?
Mendez also added that a big payday would likely be necessary to make the fight happen. He explained that Jones has nothing left to prove, having already reached every milestone in his career. Because of that, he would only take a risk like facing Aspinall if the money offered made it truly worth his while. For someone with Jones's record and legacy, the reward would have to match the level of the risk.
Man, I think the UFC is going to have to put a lot of money out there for Jon to say, okay, I'm down, you know, because Jon don't need to prove anything to anybody. He's done it all.
However, when asked whether Jon Jones is avoiding the fight due to money or simply not wanting to face him, Tom Aspinall suggested it might be a mix of both. He hinted that there are things about the financial side he knows but cannot share publicly. Aspinall added that he believes he is a difficult opponent for Jones and suspects Jones is aware of that as well.
Well, I can tell you some stuff about the money situation, but I'm not sure I can say it on camera, so I will tell you that after. I think I think I'm a bad matchup for him, to be honest.
Moreover, Tom Aspinall concluded that he fully understands Jon Jones's perspective and sees where he is coming from. For Aspinall, the main goal is winning the title, and nothing else really matters. He made it clear that his motivation is not about anything personal, but simply about proving that he is the best.
I honestly can see Jon's point of view. I get it.
Yep.
I get it. It's just about the title for me.
Yep.
I just want the title, that's it.
Yep.
Does nothing else really matters. So, yeah, I get it completely. Get his point of view. Get what everybody's saying. Completely understand. I just want to prove I'm the best.
On the other hand, Daniel Cormier strongly denied the idea that Jon Jones is scared of Tom Aspinall or anyone else. He said Jones is acting wisely, thinking carefully about his future, and focusing on protecting his accomplishments instead of rushing into risky fights. According to Cormier, it is common for top athletes to eventually step back and let the next group of fighters rise, and Jones might prefer to finish his journey his own way. Even if Jones does decide to face Aspinall and things do not go his way, Cormier believes it would not harm his reputation because of everything Jones has already done in his career.
Jon Jones isn't afraid of Tom Aspinall. I wish people would stop saying that. He is not afraid of that guy. He's not afraid of anyone. He's not afraid to fight this guy. He's not. I think he's trying to be more strategic. I think he's trying to make sure his legacy stands. I don't know how it could ever be faded. I mean, we do have short memories, but could you ever forget what he did? I don't think him fighting Tom Aspinall with the potential that he would lose is a bad thing. But as most would expect him to win the fight. But at the end of the day, the old guard has to get passed through for the new guard to go, unless you don't play the sport by the way that everyone else does it. Everyone else does it that way. Maybe Jones will be different.
Frank Mir echoed that opinion, calling Tom Aspinall a standout heavyweight with impressive skills, but saying Jones has faced elite opponents for years and deserves to choose his battles now. He reminded people of Jones's long reign at the top and said there is nothing left for him to prove. While Mir admitted that Aspinall's movement and quick strikes could pose real danger, he believes that if Jones manages to get close and turn the contest into a physical contest, he would still back Jones to come out on top.
I think Aspinall's a phenomenal heavyweight. I think he's going to be there for a while. With Jon, it's hard for me to tell people. The guy's earned so much. I feel like sometimes people have such a short memory in our sport. The guy has been one of the most dominant fighters of all time. If he wants to pick and choose who he fights, at a certain point, he kind of earned the right to, but, you know, he faced criticism, I guess, from other people. But as far as what settles in my stomach, well, I get it. because look how people are short memory with him right now. Oh, he's not the GOAT and he's dodging Tom. Like, man, this guy fought everybody. I don't count him out in a fight with Aspinall. I've trained with John. I know how he feels when he grabs a hold of you. I think Tom's hands could really be the X factor, if we can catch him or not. Tom's, striking is more powerful than a lot of the people, and speed-wise in John's face. If John grabs him, though, I'm betting on John.
Rampage Jackson also praised Jones, saying he does not see anyone in the sport right now who could clearly defeat him. He talked about their own fight and admitted that even when he was fully prepared, he still couldn't beat Jones. Although he respects Aspinall's talent and thinks he's a genuine threat, Rampage does not view him as someone who can take Jones out. He even said he heard Jones is spending months studying Aspinall's habits and movements in preparation. Rampage compared Jones to a character who can control every move in the fight, showing how clever and aware he is during matches.
You fought John Jones back in the day. People are
why you only bringing up my losses?
People are all talking about John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. How do you see that fight going? You got Tom or you got John?
Man, I don't think there's nobody on this planet that can beat John Jones, because I was in there with him. I was at my best, and I've never lost a fight at my best until John Jones. And no disrespect to Tom Aspinall, but he a good fighter. You know what I'm saying? I think he's probably second best out there, but I don't see him.
You think John Jones finishes him?
I think John Jones is just a real smart fighter. I heard something like he want to take 6 months before he fight Aspinall. I think it's because he want to study him. He want to break him down. Right. John Jones ain't no fool. He's probably one of the smartest fighters out there. I say he like Neo. He's Neo of MMA.
Georges St-Pierre added to the praise, saying Jones might be the most dominant fighter in mixed martial arts history. He said that if there was ever a need to pick one person to represent MMA in a one-on-one fight, Jones would be his top choice. Still, St-Pierre reminded everyone that no athlete, no matter how great, can escape the effects of aging forever.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about legacy, like John Jones, it's probably the best fighter that ever lives. Talk about, if I have to choose someone in his prime that I put in the Coliseum hand to hand, I think I would be John Jones. It's hard to deny that.
On the opposite end, Colby Covington was harsh in his words about Jones. He claimed Jones has been avoiding serious threats like Aspinall and is only taking fights where he holds a clear edge. Covington accused him of ducking Francis Ngannou for years, and now doing something similar by agreeing to face an older, slower version of Stipe Miocic instead of someone young and dangerous. He did not hold back, calling Jones both a fraud and a coward, saying he has built a habit of avoiding the biggest challenges.
Dude, John Jones is an absolute disgrace to this earth. He's a joke. I mean, yeah, you beat Stipe. Respect to Stipe first off, because he's a first responder and he puts his life on the line for the people and for his community. So shout out to Stipe. He's the greatest heavyweight of all time, but he was past his time. He shouldn't even have been there, man. He knows he was old and he was just showing up for a paycheck. That's not the Stipe of old. That was in his prime anymore. So. I don't think anything special that performance. I think John needs to stop ducking Tom Aspinall, just like he ducked Ngannou. He ducked Ngannou for years. Now he's ducking Aspinall. So he doesn't want to fight the guys he knows he's getting hit against. So I don't think anything special to John Jones.
Cain Velasquez spoke about Tom Aspinall's fighting style, pointing out how he keeps advancing while striking with speed and power. He said John Jones has probably examined this in detail, since Jones is known for being extremely thorough in how he studies his opponents. Cain believes Jones will use that deep understanding to limit what Aspinall can do in the cage. Based on this, he does not believe Aspinall has the tools to defeat Jones.
So me just watching him, I kind of see his pattern a little bit, and his striking, the way he comes in and strikes. I think John sees it too.
Okay.
So I think with that, just because again, he studies, man. He does his homework. He's a master at this. He analyzes things. He studies you over and over again. I think just for that reason, he's gonna know what to do. So I don't think he beats John. No.
He also explained that while every fighter has certain habits, some are better at covering them up. Cain mentioned that Aspinall's offense becomes easier to read when he pushes forward, as his strikes are often thrown with full commitment. He said using feints can help disguise those patterns, but Tom tends to go all in with each attack, whether charging in or swinging hard. Although this strategy has helped Aspinall win fights, Cain thinks Jones will recognize and take advantage of those openings, which is why he expects Jones to come out on top.
Everybody has a pattern, right?
Okay.
Everybody has a fight pattern.
Yeah.
And then some people disguise it better than others. The simple fact is the way Tom, the way that he comes in and fights, he doesn't have a pattern that's somewhat easier to find when he comes in and strikes. And I think you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of things come with that. It's disguising your pattern. It's, you know, throwing fakes here and there before. But when he comes to attacks, he comes in and attacks. It's 100% full go. You know, he comes in, glides in, lunges in, and does his attack. Again, not that it's not effective. It is. You know, he's done great things with it. I mean, look where he's at now. Not taking anything away from him. No, he is. But I think with the type of guy that Jon Jones is, I think he studies him and he beats him.
Eddie Hall gave a strong opinion in favor of Aspinall, saying he firmly believes Tom would defeat Jon Jones in a head-to-head contest. While he gave credit to Jones for his legendary accomplishments, Hall said Aspinall's fast hands, sharp technique, and rising momentum would give him the edge. He suggested that Jones's delay in accepting the fight could point to some level of doubt. Hall emphasized that real proof comes from what happens inside the cage and stood by his belief that Aspinall would win if the two ever squared off.
Jon Jones or Tom Aspinall. So if you don't know MMA world, sorry to bore you, but Tom Aspinall is UFC's #1 right now. Jon Jones is, you know, he's seen as the best MMA fighter on the planet. Dana White's got a massive for him, says he's unbeatable. Honestly, I think if you put Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall in a room and said one man leaves, I think Tom Aspinall leaves that room. I genuinely do. I think, and I think Jon Jones, I mean, I can't badmouth the guy. He's got an amazing record, but he's definitely ducking Tom Aspinall, 100%. And I think he's even said he doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall after his next fight. He's pretty much going to retire after this fight, so he's ducking Tom Aspinall. I mean, he can say what he wants, but actions speak louder than words. So there we go. Anyway, the answer to that question is Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is kicking Jon Jones.
Dricus du Plessis spoke about Tom Aspinall's energy and determination, noting that he brings a youthful hunger to the sport. He also acknowledged that Jon Jones is nearing the final chapter of his fighting career, and du Plessis shared his hope that Jones can finish his run without a loss, while also expressing a desire to see Aspinall step up as the next standout heavyweight. He praised Jones's mindset and ability to make even the toughest challenges look effortless, saying it's one of the reasons he is widely seen as the greatest to ever compete.
Aspinall is young, he's hungry. You have Jones, who is definitely at the end of his career, 38 years old. I don't need to see this because he's never been beaten. I want Jon Jones to retire unbeaten, and I want him to retire, and Aspinall goes on to be the next big thing. But Jon Jones, being the warrior that he says, pay me enough and I'm doing it. Aspinall wants it, and one of them has to lose that fight. And that's the one thing, you look at it and go, Aspinall's probably going to win. But then, if you ask me that, I say, no. We've said that so many times with Jon Jones, and it makes it look easy. He is the greatest of all time, for sure.
Paddy Pimblett called the possible clash between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall an unmissable showdown. He showed his backing for Aspinall and wished for his victory, but also recognized Jones's outstanding fight IQ and masterful strategy. Pimblett said it's tough to bet against Jones because of his extensive experience and clever game plan, which adds an extra layer of excitement to the contest.
Do you think the Aspinall-Jones fight happens?
It's got to happen. I was sitting next to Tom the other week at the UFC in London and talking to him about it.
How do you think that plays out if they fight?
I'll be honest, Tom's a friend. I love Tom. He's one of the coolest dudes in the whole of MMA. Even though Jones is getting old, I just can't pick against Jon Jones. The one thing I do think Jon Jones has got the best in the world and the best ever is fight IQ. He has a perfect game plan to beat that person. As much as I love Tom and I want Tom to win, I couldn't pick against John Jones. It's just something I couldn't do.
So what are your thoughts on this? Share your thoughts in the comments section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video.